Deep in the darkest cell of the prison lives a strange man. Every day he climbs the walls to build strength, lifts weights in the yard, practices punches when resting, volunteers for the heaviest labor, and runs through mud and heavy rain. He never stops his brutal training. His only reason to get stronger is simple. No hope, no freedom, only pure, burning hatred. Before prison, Kyle was just a normal steel worker with a loving wife and a quiet life. That happiness was destroyed by a burglar who broke into his home on a whim. On the phone, he heard his wife's desperate screams clearly. He rushed home like a madman, only to find her lying dead in a pool of blood. Kyle caught the killer and took him to court, hoping for justice. But the man was rich. Evidence was destroyed with money and clever lawyers, and the killer walked free. Seeing his enemy's smug smile, Kyle lost all faith in law, order, and humanity. He had to avenge his wife. As the killer left the courtroom, Kyle grabbed a guard's gun and killed him on the spot. He was sentenced to life in prison, sent to a jail that terrified every inmate. His real nightmare began. In this prison, the law meant nothing. Human life was worthless. The warden ruled absolutely, making up rules as he pleased. When Kyle arrived, guards took all his things and targeted his wedding ring, the only thing he had left of his wife. Kyle fought back, but was beaten badly. The ring was stolen. He learned there was no dignity here at all. The prison was controlled by 3 gangs. Mad Dog from the Russian Mafia was a sadist who loved torturing the weak. Billy, 21, arrived with Kyle. On his first night, Mad Dog tortured him publicly. His screams filled the prison all night, but guards took bribes, looked away, and even locked the cell door. The next day, Kyle saw Billy's broken body. Mad Dog's cruelty reminded him of his wife's killer. He attacked Mad Dog in a rage. Guards only held down Kyle and let Mad Dog go. They were working together. Kyle was thrown into solitary confinement. It stank, walls covered in blood, only a cold stone slab to sleep on. Days of torture broke Kyle. He tore cloth to make a rope and tried to kill himself, but failed. In despair, he slammed his head against the wall until he was bloody. Suddenly a moth flew in, landing on his food and spoon. It felt like his wife was telling him to live on. He gritted his teeth and ate the disgusting food. When Kyle got out, guards locked him in a terrible cell. The only other inmate was a huge black man, said to be a psychotic killer who murdered 3 cellmates. Guards demanded money for a new cell. Kyle paid, but they tricked him. He survived the night in silence. Kyle soon learned the prison ran illegal fight clubs. Guards and the warden gambled on them. Winners got power. Losers often died in the ring. Mad Dog was the undefeated champion, the warden's biggest moneymaker. Angering him meant fighting the whole corrupt system. Mad Dog got revenge quickly. His men beat Kyle openly, while guards watched. Kyle was locked up again. He was beaten to a pulp, but stayed quiet. That only made Mad Dog bolder. At lunch, Mad Dog spat in his food and ordered him to surrender that night. Kyle realized, back down, lose all dignity, fight back, maybe die. He chose to fight. Guards threw him into solitary again. That's when he understood. In this hell, only the strong survive. Only extreme violence could let him keep his last bit of humanity. From then on, he trained non-stop with walls, bars, and anything he could find. His body grew stronger. His eyes turned cold and hard. Months later, Kyle stepped into the ring. His opponent was Mad Dog. At first, Mad Dog's punches and knees crushed him, but Kyle took every hit, then found an opening. He kicked Mad Dog's groin hard, bit through his carotid artery. Mad Dog died instantly. The whole prison went silent, covered in blood. Kyle roared like a wild animal and terrified everyone. After that, he became the new champion. His bloody, no-mercy fighting style turned him from a victim into a tyrant. Unlike Kyle, Billy only wanted to escape. He tried many times, failed, and suffered worse punishment, but never gave up. On his last try, he stole a key and almost got free, but was caught. Guards handed him to a thug to be tortured. When Kyle found him, Billy was dying. His last words, "Don't let them turn you into one of them." Billy's words woke Kyle up. He realized violence only made you the thing you hate. In his next fight against the man who killed Billy, Kyle refused to fight back. He took every punch. The warden lost face and all his bets in front of rich guests. Furious, he hung Kyle in the yard. No food or water, baking in the sun. Trying to break him, Kyle was extremely weak, but never gave in. At first, inmates laughed, but slowly they were moved. They began to question the violence. Gangs stopped fighting. The fight club closed. The warden's bloody business collapsed. Silent nonviolence broke the rule of fear. The warden didn't dare kill Kyle. If we kill him, he becomes a martyr. Instead, he released the 8-foot-tall giant, drugged and mindless, to execute Kyle publicly. The giant attacked, breaking Kyle's bones and tearing his muscles. At the last second, Kyle tapped the iron door instinctively. The giant stopped. They had been neighbors in solitary, communicating only by tapping the wall. Kyle never knew his quiet cellmate was this giant. The giant had a low IQ but recognized the signal. He gently touched Kyle's face, shocking the warden. The warden ordered them both shot. The giant shielded Kyle, charged through bullets, fought off guards, broke down the cell door, and died bleeding. His death made the inmates riot. The warden's forces crushed it, but anger burned everywhere. During the riot, Kyle didn't fight. He saved his cellmate. The cellmate was a secret vigilante who punished prison abusers. He gave Kyle a diary that recorded every one of the warden's crimes. He planned for Kyle to escape after his final fight, on the way to execution. In the final fight, Kyle used the same cruel tricks to avenge Billy. Then, he was taken to be executed. His cellmate ambushed the guards in the garage. They took them down, and Kyle got his wedding ring back. The cellmate gave him the warden's uniform and car keys, then stayed to finish his mission. Kyle drove the warden's car, used his identity to pass all gates, and drove to freedom with the evidence. Meanwhile, the warden was killed in his office. And that's how the story ends.